One of the first problems you'll deal with when it comes to shooting video is stabilization. No matter how much money we spend on cameras, the in-body stabilization doesn't always get better. This is the motorized Chocolate Pro slider and Hamburger pan head by YC Onion. And these are going to stabilize whatever camera you put on it. These two devices have become my favorite way to shoot product videos. And I want to share with you how these two can not only get you smooth shots, but they can get you the shots that other stabilizers like a gimbal can't get. I've been shooting videos since 2015 and I've been doing my best to use creative solutions for creative problems in order to get the best footage. When it comes to getting stable footage, I've been getting away with in-body stabilization on my Sony cameras for quick clips, as well as using gimbal for the other kinds of shots. But there's two shots that I can't achieve with any of my creative tools. The first being the push in and push out shots, and the second being parallax shots. And you may say that, Mike, these are doable on a gimbal, and even handheld. But the thing is, to do it the same way every single time is nearly impossible. And for someone like me who does product videos for these YouTube videos, getting that shot right every time is quite important, especially when I have a full-time job. So when I'm shooting B-roll for these products, I find myself being challenged by keeping the gimbal centered every single time and being able to track my subject every single time. And when I'm doing my macro shots, I need these shots to be clean and consistent as can be. And more often than not, I'm not always centered. I can't make these smooth pans, these smooth slides, and it just doesn't work out right. So YC Onion reached out to have me try their slider and pan head to see what I thought. They're not sponsoring this video, so these thoughts are my own, and they don't get to see this video before it's posted. So when you get your slider, it does come with a carrying case, and inside you'll find that on the top there is a small pocket, while on the bottom you have a foam padding to segregate your slider from the cheese module, which is the motor. Plus you'll also find that there is a USB-C cord there, but not a charging block. In order to keep the slider charged as well as the pan head, you do need to use Sony NPF batteries, and these are not included as well. But I just so happen to have some from all the other lights and other accessories that I've had in the past. If you use one of these big 970 batteries, the slider can run up to 10 hours, or the 7.5 hours if you use the 750 version, or 4 hours on the 550. When you use these batteries on the pan head, you get 13 hours out of the 970, you get 9 hours out of the 750, and you get 5 hours out of the 550. But say you don't want to use these types of batteries and you've got a battery bank that has like 10,000 milliamps on it, that can keep the pan head running for 20 hours. In terms of build quality, this thing as well as the pan head are made out of aluminum alloy. This thing weighs about 2.2 kilos or 1 pound, and the cheese motor that it comes with is 560 grams. The horizontal payload is 8 kilograms or about 16 pounds. The pan head can handle 15 kilos or about 31 pounds. In terms of being vertical, it can handle 3 kilograms or 6.6 pounds. If you look at the device, you'll find that in terms of buttons and switches, it does have the traditional press and hold on and off button. It does have a USB-C port and a port for a camera cable, which is 2.5 millimeters. And then we have the push button for releasing the battery on the back of the cheese motor. And then we have a similar setup on the pan head, which also is about the same, except there is a release switch here button on the side for the battery. If you're interested in getting a tilting motor as well, the pan head does have 2 screw holes here for you to attach another one of these, but I did not get that version. If you do find that you do not want to use the electronic motor, you can easily use this lever on the side and detach it, and it just works like a regular slider, no big deal. And then when you want to go back to it, you can just easily attach it and it's good to go. This slider can extend to the left and to the right, giving you more travel distance, as you see here, but it goes a little bit more. So if you really have nice environmental shots, establishing shots that would benefit from a much longer travel, this is a good one to go with. So how do we actually get our camera mounted on this thing? Well, below here on the slider there is a 3/8 inch thread, and then this on the bottom is also 3/8 inch, which is the bigger one. If you take a look closer though at the pen head, you can see that there is a 1/4 inch thread on top, but it does come with a 3/8 inch adapter, which I use for my Manfrotto video head. And then on that, I then put on my camera. On the bottom though, in terms of mounting, there is a 3/8 inch on the bottom and 2/4 inches on the side. And then on the edges, if you want more stability, you can use the 1/4 inches on the side, where you can go ahead and attach the arm support, which then clamps onto your tripod or light stand, and you're able to keep this thing nice and steady. If you've never owned a slider before, one of the easiest pet peeves that you're gonna have is that when your slider is going back and forth, you'll start seeing it teeter and totter because it doesn't have the right support. And for me, if I want to only use a single tripod or a single light stand, then using arm supports that thread onto the side and clamp onto the legs is an easy way to get stable footage without having to worry about the teetering and the tottering, or the leaning side to side. If you want to save some money and you have some light stands already, you could also thread one light stand over here and one light stand over here, and then you're good. You don't need to buy the additional arm supports because you already have each end covered and it's nice and stable. Right now this does seem like a pretty ordinary slider. Is there any features that make this slider stand out? Well, YC Onion brags that this slider can pair with other gimbals, specific to DJI and Zhiyun gimbals. Unfortunately, I don't have the compatible gimbals that work with this, so I didn't get to try it out. But if you want to be able to save some money and make the most of the slider and the gear that you already have, then consider looking at their gimbal module that you can get with this, so that it pairs well and you won't even have to worry about getting one of these pan heads, and even a tilting head as well. For the most part, I'm using this slider for shooting YouTube videos, specifically product shots. My favorite part about this slider is that it can set the A and B points by hand, even though it's got the motor on it. It is a little stiff, but it does get the job done, because I, as much as possible, do not want to rely on the app in order to set my A and B points. Yes, it's smooth, but sometimes things can be quicker by hand. Most importantly, because the footage that I shoot does use macro shots, every little jitter, every little movement is seen. So using something like a gimbal and doing things handheld isn't always the best way to go. For the most part, I'm just sticking things on a tripod and just digitally cropping, zooming in, and sliding left to right in post. But it's digital, it's post work, it's not actual camera movement. So having a slider like this and a pan head like this allows me to have much smoother footage that I could never copy or even perform or demonstrate by hand. Plus, it's automated. I can have it loop back and forth, and it's easy to go ahead and get the best shots over and over again because I just set my A and B points once, hit play, and it's good to go. I even tried to be a little cheeky with my setup and use my Laowa 60mm Cine macro lens and tried to control it wirelessly with a follow focus, because as my setup is on the slider and on the pan head, I don't have to worry about movement at all, and I can just step back, pull focus, and get the shot. Here's some things to look out for. The slider and the pan head together just rely too much on the phone app. Yes, modern sliders and pan heads normally pair with phone apps, and that's a great thing. However, since the Chocolate Pro slider allows for manual adjustment, I was hoping that it would be the same thing with the Hamburger pan head as well. Unfortunately, to be able to move the pan head, I mean, yeah, you can try to manually force it, but it's against my normal practices, and it's much more stiffer than moving the slider. I would much appreciate if you could actually manually adjust the slider, even if you have a button press to go left and right or back and forth, whatever. Use some kind of like electronic arrows, something tactile. So if I really want this pan head to move, I have to use the app. There's no way around it. Yeah, it's just a bit of a bummer. In the future, I would like to see being able to just remove my phone to begin with and just pair these two together and even just change the settings on the fly. I can choose my A and B points on the slider using this module, which has a nice touchscreen, by the way. I would just like to be able to control the pan head with this module, and we'd be set. But even if we can get past that, another big gripe about this is that the pan head is too slow. Yes, having a slow pan head is great for having steadier footage, not denying that. But it's a hindrance if that is the only speed that it has. When I would try to achieve parallax shots where the slider moves left to right, but the pan head moves right to left, all while tracking a subject, I found that the pan head was lagging too far behind and makes the subject seem awkward in frame. A workaround for this would be to slow down your slider speed in order for the pan head to catch up and to work in a synchronous state at the same time. But this would in turn make the footage or the shot much longer than it had to be. Going back to the app though, the only thing that I did not like about the app, although it quickly paired with the cheese motor and the Hamburger, fun names, right? Although it paired with these devices just fine, it's the pairing with each other that was not so intuitive. You see, there's no visible button for pairing these two devices together. It's just an on and off button, and there's no pairing. You'll see like there's a pairing menu in here, like a Bluetooth menu in here, but it will not pair with this. It's almost like rendered useless. Like I don't even use it. It's just not friendly. If you want to activate what they call interlinking mode and pair these two together, you have to pair your phone with the pan head, pair your phone to the cheese motor separately, and then when you go back to your menu and see both devices, you press and hold the icon for the pan head, press and hold for the cheese motor, and then you will see the interlinking mode pop up, and then you just connect the two. Easy. You can find these instructions in a video if you find it right away, but for the most part it would be nice that out of the box you could just simply show it, be more straightforward about it. Alright, so what's this gonna cost? So the Chocolate Pro slider with the cheese motor is $699 US. The Hamburger SE pan head is $239. If you do want the pan and tilt head combo, it's $499 US. And then if you want the stability arms, it's $82 US. If you like something similar but less travel in terms of the distance here, the Edelkrone Slider 1 slider is an option. The V3 is $499 US, and it's 20 centimeters of travel time as compared to this, which is 70. And that weight capacity is 20 pounds or about 9 kilos. Or vertically, it's going to be 5 pounds or 2.3 kilos. They don't use Sony NPF batteries, but they use Canon LPE6 batteries. So that's great for you Canon shooters who will most likely have those batteries. Their pan head, the Head 1 V2, is $399 US. And they pretty much give a similar experience to this, but you won't need stability arms for the most part because it's just a shorter distance and you won't see as much wobble. But overall, it's just going to be a little bit more money. And the slider one has been on back order for a while now. I've been keeping an eye on it. But of course, if you don't want any of these options, there is a much more affordable option for just a slider like this that is 80 centimeters travel time, and that's by Newer for $325 US, which is currently on sale for $275 US. Just know that when you invest in a stabilization system like this, whether it's YC Onion or any other one, just know that you are investing in a ecosystem that allows the devices to work one with another. Let's say you get the Newer slider and you get a pan head, then you have to use 2 different apps or 2 different devices just to be able to use those apps, and it's just messy. Whereas you could just use one app for everything. But in reality, who's gonna buy this? This is not for beginners. This is for experienced video shooters who want more shot variety, whether it's for interviews, for weddings, for product shots, and you don't have a second shooter or would just like another shooter or third shooter. You just set this down, let it take footage, and you're good to go while you and your second shooter go off and do the main stuff. This just gives you a more interesting shot than just a simple tripod shot if that's something that you're looking for. Yes, this may be more of a bigger item to travel with, but for me, I'll just be using this in my studio. This slider combo is one of the best stabilizers that you could upgrade to, but I can't recommend it for everyone. But if you've been meaning to improve and even differentiate your videos from others, this is one tool that can achieve just that. If these are out of your budget and are still looking to get stable footage, then you may consider this tool instead. Till next time, go out there and shoot for the life that matters. See ya.